Wow!
The Saint is a British mystery spy thriller television series that aired in the United Kingdom on ITV between 1962 and 1969. It was based on the literary character Simon Templar, created by Leslie Charteris in the 1920s and featured in many novels over the years. He was played by Roger Moore. Templar helps those whom conventional agencies are powerless or unwilling to protect, often using methods that skirt the law. Chief Inspector Claude Eustace Steele is his nominal nemesis, who considers Templar a common criminal, but often grudgingly tolerates his actions for the greater good. NBC picked up the show as a summer replacement in its evening schedule in 1966 because of the strong performance in the United States of the first two series in first-run syndication. The program, therefore, ended its run with both transatlantic primetime scheduling and color episodes. It also proved popular beyond the UK and US, eventually airing in over 60 countries, and made a profit in excess of £350 million for ITC. With almost 120 episodes, the program is exceeded only by The Avengers as the most productive show of its genre produced in the UK. As with The Avengers, the color episodes were originally broadcast in the UK in black and white, before the advent of color transmissions on ITV. The Saint, aka Simon Templar, is a well-known character both on television and in countless books. But who created him? The author behind The Saint, Leslie Charteris, is as interesting a figure as his most famous fictional creation. Charteris was half English and half Chinese, born in Singapore in 1907 to a Chinese surgeon father. Consequently, his first language was not English, but Mandarin. He was born Leslie Charles Bo Wei Yin. He was a highly precocious young man. His first book was Roger Moore, accepted for publication while Charteris was in the first year of his degree at Cambridge. He promptly left the university, abandoning his studies in favor of trying his hand at a literary career. It would prove a hugely lucrative decision. Charteris was a pseudonym chosen, supposedly from a phone book, as a quintessentially English-sounding name. Simon Templar, his most famous creation, made his debut in the 1928 novel Meet the Tiger, written when Charteris was still in his early 20s. It's never made clear why he's called the Saint, though it could be from his initials, Simon Templar, giving us ST, Saint. His calling card, a stick figure crowned with a halo, is almost as famous as the character himself. Like Robin Hood, Simon Templar is a criminal, but, as his saintly nickname reveals, on the side of good in many ways. He goes after corrupt politicians and officials on numerous occasions. Roger Moore immortalized Simon Templar, the Saint, on television in the 1960s, but Moore wasn't the first person to play the role of Templar. Indeed, he wasn't even the second, or the third, or the fourth. Simon Templar first came to the screen, the big screen first of all, in 1938 in a film The Saint in New York, starring Louis Hayward. Other films followed with George Sanders in the title role. Between 1945 and 1951, Vincent Price, also known for his roles in many Hammer horror films, played Templar on American radio, though others, such as Edgar Barrier, also played the Templar role. It was in 1962, 11 years after the radio show ended, that Roger Moore brought Templar to the small screen and an even bigger audience. By this time, there had also been a Saint comic strip and a magazine devoted to the character. In the late 1970s, the Saint would find a new incarnation when he was played by Ian Ogilvy in the British series Return of the Saint. Charteris, a highly bright and gifted individual, was one of the first members of Mensa and invented his own sign language, Palanio. He died in 1993, 4 years before the Saint returned to screens, the big screen again this time, in the 1997 film starring Val Kilmer. Roger Moore had earlier tried to buy the production rights to the Saint books himself and was delighted to be able to play the part. Moore eventually became co-owner of the show with Robert S. Baker when the show moved to color and the production credit became Bamor Productions. Most of the wardrobe Moore wore in the series was his own. He was reportedly offered the role of James Bond at least twice during the run of the series, but he had to turn it down both times due to his television commitments. In one early episode of the series, titled Luella, another character actually mistakes Templar for Bond. Moore accepted the Bond role after The Saint ended its run. Moore had a few recurring co-stars, especially Ivor Dean, who played Templar's nemesis, Inspector Teal. In 3 early episodes, Teal had been played by Campbell Singer, Norman Peet, and Wensley Pithie. Dean featured from the episode Iris, the 7th of November 1973, onward.